Alright everybody, here is our presentation over the 4 steps to MLA formatting. Now, MLA formatting tends to be with English papers, mind you, but it can also happen in other classes such as humanities and in education courses. Now, the first steps to formatting an MLA paper, if we can get back to the front of our presentation, are your headings, page numbers, in-text citations, and your works cited page. Without these 4 things, you will not pass the criteria for an MLA paper. Now, the basics of MLA formatting essays. It must be in either Times New Roman or Arial, and it has to be 12-point font. If it's any larger, you'll get points off. And 1-inch margins on all sides. And trust me guys, teachers can notice if it's not 1-inch margins. The last criteria is that it has to be double spaced. And no, you cannot put extra space between the paragraphs. That's called cheating. So, as much as we want to, we can't. So, only double space, Times New Roman, 12-point font, 1-inch margins. Now, let's get to the nitty-gritty. Headings. Headings go in the upper left-hand corner of your paper. It'll have your name, your professor's name, your course, and the date. Notice that the date is written with the day, month, year format. And it's going to be 1 inch from the top of the page and 1 inch from the side of the page. And here's an example. Page writer, so name, professor, class, date. Notice that your title is no different than the rest of the font. No bolds, no italics. Alright, next, page numbers. Page numbers are very crucial, and they go in the upper right-hand corner of your first page. It goes in the header, and it's going to be your last name followed by the page number itself. And this will be 1 inch from the right-hand side and 1/2 inch from the top of your paper. And be careful because it tends to change the font. And I promise page numbers are uber important, because if you've ever been walking to class, drop your papers, and they're not stapled, it's a mess, trust me. So, here is our example of the first page of an essay. And it has his last name and the page number. And page numbers will be on all of the pages, hence page numbers. The next point that you want to remember is to have in-text citation. Now, what is an in-text citation? This catches people sometimes. It's when you label the location of where you found your information so that others can find it later. This is extremely important, especially as you get up higher into your college years. People want to make sure you have credible information. Now, when are you supposed to cite? Anytime you didn't already have the information in your noggin. Do you need page numbers for EBSCO, which happens to be Texas Wesleyan's database for articles? Yes, you need page numbers in your papers for books, articles, newspapers, anything that already has a page number, you must put it. And no, you do not need it for websites. Can you cite too much? No. But as the next point says, you can cite more than once in a paragraph. If you change from Jane says this to Johnny says that, then you want to say what Jane said again, then you have to recite Jane, because who's to say we won't get confused if it's Jane or John that said it. So make sure if you change sources in between your sentences that you bring it back to the correct source. And lastly, the 3 ways to do in-text citation are with an author or book article in the sentence. Make sure you have your page number. Use in a sentence and cite. In this second example, you give a fact from your article that you paraphrased, and you want to make sure that you cite correctly, so you put the author and the page number. And the last way is to create a quote. The article Broccoli Brings Change by Jane says, "This is not the end but the beginning." followed by a page number. Page numbers are very important because if you don't have a page number and you open up a 50-page article, no one's going to scan through it just to find this is the end, not the end, but the beginning. And notice in each case, the period goes after the citation. So 3 ways to do your in-text citation. But remember, the first word in your in-text should lead to, which is our 4th point, your works cited page. If the example says, Jane says that the world is only a donut's edge of the universe, Jane should be the first word we find in the works cited right here. Jane, Lisbeth, Tommy, sickness. That should be Jane to Jane, the first thing we find. And if it's not, and this were a title, we would have to put, as this example says, Tommy's sickness, page 20. And if you don't have an author, you'll put a title. And that's only the first one, 2, 3 words in your article title citation. Alright guys, lastly, I'm not going to go too far into detail on your works cited page. I've given you a link right here to a good place to get your works cited information and help. It has help for MLA, APA, and Turabian. But for the sake of our presentation here today, MLA is very awesome. It's very awesome. It's extremely awesome, which is pretty big terms. Now it has it color-coded and it's great. So please use that source if you're ever questioning what to do. And you can also use Purdue OWL, PURDUEOWL. And just Google it, look up MLA citation. But on your works cited page, the basics, double space, Times New Roman, just like your paper, and you want the title, works cited, to be centered. Not bolded, not italics, just centered. And your author's titles, whichever you have, is going to be in alphabetical order with a hanging indent. Okay guys, so that's pretty much it. That has been our presentation on 4 steps to MLA formatting. Remember, headings, page numbers, in-text citations, and a works cited page. And you will pass with flying colors your MLA formatting section of your paper. And this has been a proud product of the Texas Wesleyan Academic Success Center. So, I will speak with you guys next time. And goodbye.